Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get this party started! Coming to the ring first, here comes the challenger, Earl, the Truth, Spence Jr.
I had to get to that money. I had to get to that guala. The 20s, the 50s, the 100s. I had to get to them dollars. Watch me run up a check on these. Yeah. I had to get to that guala. Watch me run up a check on these. Yeah.
Very relaxed over the past couple of weeks, and he's brought a great deal of family and friends with him. His dad's in his corner, his mum's here, his partner's here, even one of his daughters who's just 18 months old. They've made a lot of noise at the press conferences, and they're absolutely 100% confident they are going back with the world title tonight. They believe they have a special gem, but the special one is about to come out.
And now making his entrance to the ring, the defending world champion, the special one, Special K.
For one of the most talented fighters anywhere on the globe. From the age of 8, Kelbrook has developed his magic and honed his skills on the famous Winkerback Hill. and his Uncle Johnny predicted he'd be headlining here at his beloved Bramall Lane. 23 years later, the dream comes true for the IBF champion. He had the longest unbeaten record in British boxing for some years. He took that monumental risk against GGG. His stock hasn't fallen, but his weight has. Huge focus on that as he enters an underdog. Money has piled on Spence, especially in Vegas, but Kelbrook is relishing this. He says this is where he becomes a real Sheffield star.
Well, this is really where he could become a massive star globally. He's got it all against him tonight in Errol Spence, but I believe in Kelbrook. He's proven throughout his whole welterweight professional career that he's got what it takes to win this tonight.
Spence Jr., 4 years pressure, the same height. That weight so crucial. How much did it take out of the pair of them to get to 10 stone 7? And what on earth are they weighing tonight? He's been around a long time, Kelbrook, professionally seasoned, both big punchers. A really enticing tale of the tape. So many see it as 50-50, but Spence is 7-4 on to win. A lot see it going by knockout. Some the distance, 22-1 the draw. We just don't know. It's fascinating.
It is. I mean, this is arguably the best fight in the welterweight division that could happen. It's a real treat for the boxing purists, this one. I mean, everybody's been talking about this on the build-up all week. Nobody can really pick a winner, but it's fair to say Spence is the favourite.
The atmosphere in Wembley last month, incredible. This one, though, is pretty good.
I know. All right. I gotta go, my brother. I gotta go. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we honor challenger and champion with their respective national anthems. First, for the challenger, the national anthem of the United States of America, the Star-Spangled Banner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem for the United Kingdom, God Save the Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bramall Lane, Sheffield, Yorkshire, England, this is the main event of the evening. And it's all brought to you by Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing in association with TGB Promotions. It's live on Sky Sports, Box Office, and live to America on Showtime. the main event. 12 rounds of boxing for the welterweight championship of the world. Sponsored by BetSafe, StubHub, and JD Sports, and sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Supervisor and President Charles Giles, and the International Boxing Federation, President Darryl Peoples, Supervisor from the United States, Anibal Miramontes. Timekeeper at the bell is Barry Pinder. The 3 judges scoring this bout: from the United States, Adelaide Bird; from Mexico, Alejandro Lopez; and from the United Kingdom, Dave Paris. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, World Championship veteran referee, Howard Foster. And now, the officials are ready. The fighters are ready. Boxing fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions around the world who wish they could be here, ladies and gentlemen, from Sheffield, England, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, with his trainer Derek James wearing white with gold. His official weight, 10 stone, 6 pounds, 5 ounces. His professional record is a perfect one. 21 fights, 21 victories, including 18 big wins by knockout. From DeSoto, Texas, USA, the IBF #1 ranked challenger in the world, Earl, the Truth, Spence Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer, Dominic Engel. He's wearing red and white and officially weighed in at 10 stone, 6 pounds, 7 ounces. In 37 professional fights, he has 36 victories, including 25 wins by knockout and 1 defeat. That defeat in the middleweight division, as he is undefeated as a welterweight. He's the fighting pride of Sheffield, Yorkshire, England, the reigning, defending IBF welterweight champion of the world, the special one, Special K.
Okay guys, spoke to you both in the dressing room. You both know what I expect. Keep it clean, break straight away when told. Both of you watch your heads in close. Good luck to you both. Touch gloves. Good luck, lads.
One of the greatest matchups, not just in this thriving 10 stone 7 division, but at any weight in recent months, as Sheffield's Kell Brook puts his treasured IBF crown on the line on this enormous home stage. It's the litmus test for Errol Spence Jr., the cool cat with the oozing confidence. What of Brook's weight over 12 hard rounds? Will Spence unleash vicious body shots? Can the American cope at this level? Is he a sensation in the making? Or will Kell Brook prove formidable and ruthless, as so often he does?
Well, this is where we find out now if Kell Brook really is the king of the welterweights, because he's in against a real stiff test in Errol Spence. I mean, this guy is a quality fighter. He's going to sit back behind that southpaw jab early on, but there's a thunderous left cross waiting for Kell Brook if he makes any kind of mistake early on.
A thunderous left cross and maybe a thunderous right hand from Brook, who loves fighting southpaws. He blew away Kevin McIntyre all those years ago for the British belt in Glasgow. And he's knocked every single port-sider out his face, but he is coming off that defeat to Gennady Golovkin. and he admits it's been a right struggle making 10 stone 7, but he looks big in there. Rehydrated, recarbed. Trying to get that jab going, and a positive start from Brook.
Very positive from Brook. Nice jab, looking for the right hand to the body, wasting nothing. Beautiful footwork, nice distance, great reflex. He's always had cat-like reflexes, Brook. He times that right hand counter beautifully off that back foot. And Errol Spence knows he's in with a test here.
Always had good feet as well too, the thick thighs of Kell Brook, who just switches southpaw momentarily. Circumspect from Spence Jr. so far, but trying to unload a body shot early on. There'll be the tactics to work that midsection and find out if Brook really is a welterweight or whether he should have gone up to super welterweight and vacated the crown, but he didn't want to, Cole.
No, he was adamant he wanted to come back down to welterweight, where he is IBF king. And now he's got this defence, this mandatory defence, and it really is a stiff test. Kell Brook not looking out of his depth here. Speed-wise, people thought he might have struggled coming down to the weight, but it's early doors, it's only round one, but this is really tight, nothing really to split them.
Remember, Spence Jr., a pre-fight betting favourite. Money piled on him in recent days in Vegas. But Kell Brook's been an underdog before, and that just spurs him on. Another body shot from the American. Speed is so key here.
It is. Heads just coming desperately close together there. Some nice body work there from Errol Spence. Good opener.
You don't want to fight fair, does it? So keep to the middle, be patient with him. You'll get him. Don't be too eager to set forward, southpaw when you're throwing that backhand. Just get your range first, because you won't make a mistake, and then you'll catch him with your jab, right? Don't switch, because what he'll do is, he'll counter you with your right hook as you're switching. So don't let him get into that mode. Don't be nice and sharp, bang, bang, straight. Get your speed with him as he starts to go across. Just close him down a little bit so there's nowhere to run. So when you line him up for backhand, he's walking across it. So you're not reaching for it, yeah? Don't let him...
Dominic Ingle and Derek James, who have had their own battle of words in the build-up. Plenty of respect between the player and plenty between the fighters. The Sheffield United colours of special Kell Brook and the truth Errol Spence Jr. in the white with the gold tassels. Is he a golden hope of American boxing? Will be exposed here by the fleet fists of Kell Brook, who's got the experience, but Spence Jr. with so much talent through the amateurs and through those 21 wins so far.
Feet coming together there, quite awkwardly, commonly seen it when a southpaw fights an orthodox. Kell Brook found his range quite early and having some good success here in the second round.
Yep, right hand, followed up with an uppercut. Will he test Spence Jr.'s chin? Has been shaken momentarily once. I noticed, I think it was in the Bundu fight. Also got a good win over Chris Algieri, Errol Spence, but nothing at this level in this league. Kell Brook proved himself over in the States against Sean Porter. Now it's Spence's turn. Do you think Brook's settling better?
He has settled in, but, I mean, it's very intense. Spencer backing him up, looking to get in close, looking for that body shot. Couple drove down a little bit low. There's that body shot. He landed some nice body shots in the first round. And when them shots go in, but this is great response from Kell Brook. I mean, he's getting in with some nice lead right hands and then working the body, and he's able to get off and keep that distance and just be away from the counter shot that comes back to him. Brook has definitely found his distance and timing.
Mixing it up. Nice shots. Spence has to take a couple there. Trying to power his way forward, Kell Brook.
He's got a good jab, Errol Spence, when he uses it, and he pours it out, but when he lands, it takes the head back of Kell Brook. But Brook landing some nice eye-catching shots this round.
Good defence there from Errol Spence Jr.
Well, he's having to close the distance here. He's having to march forward with a high guard. He realises that Kell Brook is a really effective counter-puncher, and he's got fast hands. So Spence here forcing Brook back with that high defence. Not great tactics, but he's obviously confident in his own punching power and his ability to take a punch, because he's walking forward, showing not much respect here for Brook, who's actually dominating here with his boxing ability.
This is good work side to side from Kell Brook, utilising the angles, body and head as well. Turn southpaw.
Yeah, there's some nice body work going in from Kell Brook. See it there, that right hand to the body, keeps picking that shot, and that will take away the wind from Spence.
Shot from Spence down the pipe though. Back he comes. Fraught with danger, this defence, and it's shaping up well.
Easy stopping, you're going to punch yourself out. When you start telling you what, just tie him, and then work him. Tie him, then work him, do you understand? Come on. Listen, we're all having an effect on him in each shot. He's just trying to walk through you.
Nassim Hamad joining us at ringside. What do you think of Kell's start?
Up tonight is very good. Up tonight is very good. I'm enjoying this. Kell's backing him up, and Kell's doing very well. He just needs to keep on his job and keep his head movement.
Do you think the all-round experience and ability of Kell Brook will prove too much for a man who is having his first test at this level, or has Spence got more tricks up his sleeve?
No, well, we're yet to see in the later rounds or the middle rounds what's going to happen, but this is, like I said, a big test for both of them. But Kell Brook right now is winning this fight.
It's a positive start from the Sheffield 31-year-old, 4 years older than Errol Spence Jr. Some of the Americans also wondering whether this was just a bit too soon, whether he was too raw, Errol Spence. But a good left hand there, and he's got real power too. 18 knockouts, very dangerous. Brook's always had a pretty solid chin, was buzzed by Senchenko, was down early in his career as well.
I think Errol Spence realising that last round he was getting outboxed and out counter-punch with Kell's fast hands and his tricky footwork. And he's come out this round and just seems to be applying quite effective pressure. He's got a good southpaw jab. And when he's in close, you can see that strength. Good shot there
from Spence, and a body shot that follows. And now he's beginning to settle the American.
Kell Brook backed up there with his chin in the air, tried to spin off on the ropes, but they left his head out to dry, and that right hook from Spence went in, and I think Kell Brook felt that and realises now he needs to tighten his defence up. More urgency in the work of Errol Spence now in this round.
Yep, utilising the ring, light on his feet. Errol Spence trying to work on the inside up close. People shouting and screaming all around us at ringside. The fervent support for Kell Brook. But Errol Spence with a wry smile on his face.
We can see this really is a top-level quality fight between two of the best welterweights in the world. Neither of them really wanted to give an inch. Both landing nice, accurate, clean shots. Both boxing well. Spence on his back foot. Kell Brook having to apply more pressure now because he's had a bad start to the round.
Yeah, it was better at the beginning of the third from Errol Spence Jr. Who's going to land the first really hurtful punch? And will it be to head or to body?
Well, I think Spencer landed a nice right hook earlier on in this round that made Brook realise that he's in with a bit of a puncher. Spence looking a bit wild there, a bit desperate. But doesn't he really need to take any chances at this stage?
He's looked $1 million, he really has, on his ascent, his rise, Errol Spence Jr. Won virtually every single round of every single fight. But now he's under pressure. Now he's in with a man who's experienced long, hard fights and been in with Gennady Golovkin too. The jab over the top against the southpaw, the orthodox and southpaw styles.
Yeah, well, Kell Brook sits back on that right foot, transfers the weight so fast and sharp, and there's the counter punches there from Brook. He does it so well, so effective.
When he's stepping across you there, don't get up body, right? You've got to hit his head, because if you dip, he's dangerous. So as he comes across... Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out, round 4.
It's the 4th round, the 188th of Kell Brook's professional career. It's only the 81st for Errol Spence Jr. Straight out of the blocks, Brook. But it's the Texan who's got centre ring. Real tension here, and there's the right hand of Kell Brook that he's called his chocolate brownie. Time and again we've heard that. Errol Spence laughing eventually, but having none of it and coming back with a left hook of his own.
Well, he throws that lead right hand, Kell Brook, and a counter right hand so effectively. There's a lot of power on it. And Spencer feeling that. Kell Brook landing some nice shots, but Spencer just sending a nice reply himself.
Really beginning to warm up here.
Well, neither fighter wanted to give any ground and show any weakness to his opponent.
Both so positive and aggressive. Here comes Spence Jr. Brook is backed up on the ropes and shipping some of these body shots.
Well, Spencer's the one that wants to apply the pressure as Brook backs up and tries to spin off and get behind that jab and give himself a little bit more time. It's Spencer is the fighter that wants to push forward and force the pace. So we'll show that he's eager, but can he maintain it?
Blood to the mouth, cut lip for Errol Spence Jr. Another tough fight that Kell Brook had with Carson Jones. All those experiences that he's had to come through. And Errol Spence Jr. is really doing this for the first time. The talent's there. We've seen it in the last 3 or 4 years with Spence. Can he deliver it all together on a World Championship night and on a stage as big as this?
Well, in fights that are close, you have to draw on that experience. And you said there, Brook has got the more experience in the danger zone. You know, when it's not going his own way, he's able to turn it around. And he can draw on that experience from past fights in this fight, if and when it gets hard for him. I mean, this is tough for both men. But you'd have to say the experience favours Brook massively. But Errol Spencer, you know, doesn't mean you can write him off.
Not at all. So that's some really good punches landed already. Brook trying to drag Spence into a close, personal, hard fight. Right hand from Brook.
Errol Spence trying to get something going there on his back foot, and Brook responding brilliantly. I mean, Brook really is leading the charge, and then when the counter comes back at him, he's happy to then respond himself.
Yep, reads fight so well, Brook. But Spence Jr. has solved every single puzzle in front of him so far and done it spectacularly. First man to stop Chris Algieri, something Amir Khan and Manny Pacquiao couldn't do. He stopped Leonard Bundu, something Keith Thurman couldn't. This is a real power puncher. Which corner will be happier?
I think the work of Kell Brook now, I mean, it's still a hard fight for him. Errol Spence is still coming, but Brook seems to have settled down better. He's using his jab well, and his counter right hand's great. And up close, he seems to be having the final say in the last of the argument. Errol Spence needs to get a bit of urgency in his work. away from home. Dominic Ingle here in the corner.
And then push him off. But don't tire yourself out. Then go then box him. Save the energy. Because he's beginning to drain. He's beginning to drain. You've got him, Kel.
Mixed reaction already on the benches at ringside as to who has got the better of the first 4 rounds, whether Kell Brook's in front, whether Errol Spence Jr. is. 3 judges at ringside. Our own Dave Parris, Adelaide Byrne, Alejandro Lopez. Will they be needed? Kell Brook has said in the build-up he thinks both of them might touch down. They might taste the canvas. Body shot from Brook.
Looking really strong, Kell Brook. Nice right hand, and up close physically he's able to manhandle Spence. And you know, if we're worried about Kell Brook getting tired in the final round, I can't see that happening because he's able to manhandle Spence here early on and up close, push him back with that left hand and lean on him. It might be that natural size advantage he's got that could be the telling factor here.
Greg Marriott, his nutritionist, who said he's come in at about 11:10 on the night after the rehydration. Spence Jr. apparently about 11:7. So they both packed on the pounds, but they both made the re-weigh in this morning. Will it come down to weight and down to stamina as we move towards those championship rounds?
Starting to work the body as well now, as he puts Spence on his back foot and he's effective for them body shots, Kell Brook. Counter jab, and then that right hand as he goes in, body or head. And they're the kind of punches that drain you when you're on the receiving end of them.
Elite fighters, brains ticking over, working out their next move. A chess match at times, and brutality at others.
Really, really good signs here for Kell Brook early on. If he can maintain this, this is going well. I mean, Errol Spence, don't get me wrong, big puncher, firing back, letting shots go, but he's just falling short. His timing seems to just be out. And, you know, he's not mixed at this level. Let's not forget Kell Brook.
Oh, right hand from Brook, peaching the shot in the 5th round. And his chin was exposed there. Errol Spence Jr.
Really good counter right hook there from Kell Brook. He stepped to the right slightly, made Spencer mix, and went right in with that right hook. Effective shot.
Doesn't look quite as confident, the American, in this round.
No, I think he realises that he's in against a quality fighter in Kell Brook, and he's going to have to try and change something, and it's not quite working for him.
And Brook switch hitting. Trained on those lines and circles in the Winkerback gym, but Spence Jr. comes back with a right volley here, applying the pressure on Brook. Great 5th, both having their success.
A little bit of a desperation work there from Errol Spence. Brook caught him with a left uppercut, a lead uppercut quality, then Spencer had him on the ropes, so he just worked, let the shots go for the sake of it, but Brook really dominating for me in that round, looking really well.
Kell Brook just looking down at
Doing everything right.
Nassim Hamid at ringside. Let's just listen to Dominic Ingle, Naz.
I know it's difficult, because actually dipping down. But just find yourself, get yourself slightly on that side and you're picking that jab. Give me some Vaseline, please. Listen, we're nearly halfway through. Just stop it.
Important round, that 5th. Naz, what did you think?
Kell's doing unbelievable now. I'm just watching him. He looks strong. He looks good now. For me, he's still commanding, still in charge of this fight. What can I say? I'm watching a winner right now. I think he's feeling the heat. I think Spencer's feeling the heat when he gets hit.
Right? Come on, Kell.
Kell's got to carry on doing what he's doing. Let's go.
Just caught Paulie Malignaggi's eye working for Showtime. He thinks Brook's in front. Steve Farhood, the excellent analysis who's with Paulie, thinks Brook's in front by 3. 1 or 2 others at ringside feel it's closer. Was that a crucial round, the 5th? As Kell Brook starts the 2nd in powerful fashion. And Errol Spence just seems to hang on there, looking a bit ragged as he tries to deliver body shots.
Well, Spencer here having to do something different, having to apply this rough and rugged tactics to put Brook on his back foot and test his heart and his fitness back down now at welterweight. If Spencer is going to have any success and cause any problems for Brook, this is how he's going to do it.
He's fighting fire with fire here. Spence Jr. trying to stay in the pocket, apply the pressure to Kell Brook's body. Right tactics, we're going to find out, because Brook's work is good.
I think Errol Spencer's realised when he sits back, he's not fast enough and he's not good enough. I think the superior skills of Brook are just outclassing him. I say outclassing, it sounds wide, it's not wide, but he just seems to be in front, having that edge, Brook, when they're at distance.
More body shots attempted from Errol Spence Jr. And a jab too.
And when they come together, when they come close, Brook seems to be the stronger of the two. He seems to have that more physical weight advantage and that strength, which can be so desperately telling as this fight draws on.
This may be at welterweight, but he proved he had strength at middleweight. He took some of Gennady Golovkin's biggest shots. Yes, he didn't win the fight, but he came out almost spitting defiance, and you know, that risk didn't look too terrible, did it?
No, not at all. He was stopped on his feet against Gennady Golovkin up at middleweight. He wanted to carry on, even with that injury to the eye socket, which terrible, obscured his vision. So he's really not concerned about what's coming in back here from Errol Spence.
Titanium in the eye and a steely feel about Kell Brook all the way through the build-up. How determined and dedicated he is, but Errol Spence Jr. wants this so much. The family's over. He believes the belt's going back to Texas. Right hand from Brook. Looking strong here, and Spence having to ship punishment and holding on. And a right from Brook, and an uppercut. And is he beginning to get to Errol Spence at the end of the 6th round? Just a rugged feel to the Texan.
Well, Errol Spence really trying to dig his feet into the ground, gritting his teeth and really letting some heavy shots go, but Kell Brook just looks the physically stronger and he's able to push him back after he's landed his shots.
Big round for Brook, star-studded cast here. Sean Porter is with Andy.
Sean, you've been shouting plenty of encouragement for Errol Spence Jr., your countryman. How are you seeing this one so far?
Close. I actually have it tie score right now, 3 rounds to 3. Both guys are doing fabulous. Both using their jab very well and countering very well. It's very hard for these guys to time each other because they're so quick with the counter. I'm screaming offense to defense because he's very quick. Kell is very quick with the counter, and so is Errol as well.
What would you like to see Errol do more of?
Honestly, I would like to see Errol push forward more. I think if he pushes forward more on Kell and keeps him on his heels, he'll force Kell to the ropes and give the impression that he's winning, and also will force Kell to hold him and grab him, which will stop him from using his offense.
At this point, how do you see this one going from here on?
At this point, I see it going back and forth exactly like we thought it would. Right now, I got it 3 rounds to 3. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, Sean.
Sean Porter has it absolutely level. Tony Bellew has 3 up to Kell Brook. How are you seeing it, Cole?
I've got Brook 5 up. I just think, I mean, round 1 was close, could have gone either way, but some nice body shots went in there from Spence. But since then, I just like what Brook's doing.
The Americans behind us have got Kell Brook a couple up at the halfway stage. Of course, this is all unofficial. 3 judges at ringside. Remember, the champion, Kell Brook, making the 4th defense of his IBF welterweight belt against the dangerous mandatory challenger, Errol Spence Jr. Cracking matchup. What happens next? It just seemed to me, Carl, as though Brook was beginning to break him up a touch in that 6th.
He did, yes. In the 6th round, it looked like he was breaking him down, like you say, just slightly. Signs of fatigue or frustration or whatever it was from Errol Spence. He was being busy and he's still letting big shots go, but Brook making it awkward for him. I mean, he throws some quite unorthodox shots. Let's not forget he's got that Brendan Ingalls style. Although he's not got the conventional Ingalls style like Nassim Ahmed in his day, he's still got an awkwardness about his style. Lead uppercuts, little step to the side, he switches to southpaw, but the physical strength I'm seeing seems to be the telling factor.
Yeah, he's also swarming all over Errol Spence Jr., not giving him a break. The American still with the fast hands. but Brook continues to look strong and steady and so focused. Back comes Spence, though. The combinations, that fleet of foot he has got, that's what impressed Floyd Mayweather when they sparred at the beginning of Errol's professional career. Talks to Floyd regularly. Also, Oscar De La Hoya, a big fan of Errol Spence Jr., and now they're promoting. The Americans have got excited about him as he gets a left hook away.
Kell backing Spence up here, not really having the success he's had in the last couple of rounds. Spencer slipping and sliding when they come up close, able to just come together and then turn him off and get back behind that jab.
Yeah, good work from Spence here in the 7th.
I think the pressure from Kell Brook's just slightly slowed down, and that's made a bit of a difference in the way this fight's going for me.
A couple of left hooks as well got in. And now he looks a bit ragged, Brook. Topsy-turvy. Is there a swing here?
Well, if we ever had any concern, it would have been in the second half of the fight with Kell Brook coming down from middleweight. Let's hope he's not starting to feel that weight loss.
Good session for Errol Spence Jr. Will his body shots pay dividend later on in the fight? How do we know? Aesthetically, he looks terrific, Kell Brook. He's had the 12, 14-week training camp. Is it just something that could catch up?
It could do. I mean, being up at middleweight, and when you look in the shape that Brook was in at middleweight, he wasn't fleshy. He was solid, he was ripped. So he's had to take off muscle, and when you take muscle off, it's fatiguing. But he did it over a longer period of time, so he could be fine, but that's the only thing we can look at.
Round 8.
This wonderful welterweight division. Champions Keith Thurman, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook here, Manny Pacquiao. Add to that Danny Garcia, Sean Porter at ringside, Amir Khan in our studio, Adrian Broner, Jesse Vargas. A bustling, bubbling 10 stone 7 scene, and some huge fights for the winner of this. But who will win?
We've seen some good speed here from Errol Spence early. Jab with that southpaw stance, then counter jab left cross. And he seems to be just effective with that jab and that speed at this minute. I mean, Kell Brook, I think, needs to get to work.
Head and body from Errol Spence Jr. Back right hand comes Kell Brook, tit for tat at times.
He really had to force it, Kell Brook, to get that success, and when he does, that strength tells, and here it comes again.
When he closes the distance, Brook looks a different animal. Spence Jr. wants space to let those fast fists fly.
Spencer looking quite comfortable when he comes in close, quite, you know, confident with that high guard and that good defense and that sharp jab. Kell Brook seems to have just lost a bit of his sharpness and a bit of his spite.
Here comes Spence Jr. with another drive. It's interesting, it's one fight when Brook backs up Spence, but as soon as he's got room and he can utilize those legs.
Spence just seems to have that advantage with that jab and a slight bit of speed when they're just out of range, but up close, Brook's able to lean on him, but he's landing lead left crosses now, Spence, and the jab's been effective this round.
It really is fascinating, the zip of the 27-year-old against the experience of the 31-year-old. Good shot from Spence, and a lovely combination as well.
Nice combo from Spence. Jabs and then hooks flying in with no real response from Kell Brook.
Yeah, suddenly he looks strong again, Errol Spence Jr.
And if Brook allows him to work just at his comfortable range, then he'll draw confidence from that.
He was just annoyed by a shot there, Kell Brook. Bit of swelling as well.
Yeah, marking up around the face, Brook.
Good work from Errol Spence. Back comes Brook with a couple of clubbing shots. But the scoring punches with the American, that was back of the head from Brook. And the left eye is swelling badly of Kell Brook. It was the right that went.
Steaming forward, Brook. Bit clumsy now coming forward, Steaming then using his weight, just leading in, but walking into counters. And the face marking up quite badly there, especially around that left eye.
Looks a bit unsteady as he goes back to his corner, Kell Brook. Good patch of the fight for Errol Spence Jr.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Debrief. You don't look like it has to me. Right, listen to me. This last round 8, you've got 4 more rounds. You're steadying this kid up now. You've got 4 rounds to get through this and get on top of him. You're in front, you understand? You've got to keep in front, you've got to be smart. Right? There's no ways out in this fight. We've got 12 rounds to do. You understand? That's what we're going to do with this kid. Right? He's had his best burst. You understand? Don't do that. Leave that. He's had his best burst. All right. Debrief. Debrief. Get some water. Get some water.
Just gauging opinion at ringside, Sean Porter has Errol Spence a couple up. Tony Bellew has Kell Brook 1 up. Darren Barker, Kell Brook a couple. Steve Farhood for the Americans has got it all square, but he's given Errol Spence the last 3 rounds. 5 to go in this enthralling world welterweight title fight. How are you seeing it?
Well, I've got Brook a couple up, having a bit of early success here in round 9. I've still got Brook a couple up, but losing the last couple of rounds, he seemed to have dropped the pace.
I think it's very close. Errol Spence coming on strong. And this was the period of the fight that many worried for the British man with that weight-making issue. But Errol Spence Jr. is also untested at this level over this distance.
I'm just concerned for Brook that he's slowed down with the pace, and Spencer has had some success, so he'll draw confidence from that as this fight goes into these championship rounds.
Tape loose and a breather. Errol Spence Jr. has absolutely whipped himself into shape in Texas alongside the Charlo brothers. He wants this so bad. He believes it's the coronation. What a close, tight fight. What a treat for fight fans that we're getting these matches on, Carl.
That's right. Well, Brook got the experience now to know that he needs to start to work. That left eye looking quite badly marked up and swelling. In these championship rounds where we expect Brook to step it up, but Spencer looks the fresher of the two. Worrying signs really for the Brook camp.
Oh, good shot from Errol Spence Jr. there. His accuracy is excellent. His movement is getting better and better, and that eye is getting worse of Kell Brook.
I think Brook needs to try and impose himself, put his weight, the extra weight and strength that we saw early on. He needs to try and get up close with Spence and just let some shots go and lean on him and push him back and try and rough him up, because at this sort of range against a southpaw, a fast southpaw that's still fresh enough to let big shots go, this could be troubling for Brook.
Really applying the pressure now. Big left hook from Errol Spence Jr. Brook tries to back him up into his own corner, but there's not as much coming from the Sheffield man now. It's really noticeable. It's Spence Jr. in the driving seat, and there's a right hand, and these are worrying moments for Kell Brook and his team. Oh, big shots from Errol Spence Jr.
Kell Brook hurt there, let's not forget, he's a big banger, big puncher, Spence. And he's landing
the last
that shot.
30 seconds of the 9th round, and here comes Spence. And Kell Brook has got to hold on and use his experience, because he's in real bother now.
He is in real bother. Shipped some heavy shots there from Spence, who can see the damage he's doing. As Brook backs up here, he needs to hold. He needs
to bell, Carl, because this is a massive round for Errol Spence Jr., who's showing us his class and showing us his staying power. Brook raises his arm, but that was torrid and turbulent.
Well, this is them championship rounds that we talked about, the last 4 rounds.
Right, be smart, right? This fight's not over, you listen to me. Deep breathe. Get your mind composed there. You got 4 rounds. Do you understand? Right, he's throwing everything. He's throwing everything. Right, and there's nothing in them shots. They're only hitting you when you're stood there. You've got to move, you've got to be smart and get behind his elbow. Stop him. And he gets tired, then you've got to work.
Just getting more animated in the corner, Dominic Ingle. It's not panic stations, is it?
Well, Dominic Ingle knows how close this fight is. He knows that Kell Brook was successful early on, and this is his time, it's his title, it's his hometown, so anything close will go his way. But Spencer here really starting to pull away, and there's signs of desperation from Brook at the end of that round.
Adam Booth behind us has got it level. Paulie Malignaggi has got Errol Spence now in the lead, and I think for the first time in the fight, 9 minutes to go. Is there a change of the guard, or will Kell Brook manage to see out these 9 minutes and retain his IBF title? It has gone deep, but Errol Spence Jr. is the one who's had much more success in the last few minutes. Oh, Kell Brook's hurt here, and he's down in the 10th round, and it's so early. And it was an accumulation, and that eye is terrible as well for Kell Brook. Is he running on empty now?
Unfortunately for Kell Brook, this is desperate time. He's badly injured now with that eye, and here comes Spence again.
Errol Spence Jr. on the verge of the coronation. Kell Brook tottering all over the ring. He's going to be taken out here. The championship is about to change hands, surely.
Kell Brook needs to hold.
He comes back bravely, Brook. Howard Foster was so close there. He's looking up, back comes Kell Brook, showing championship heart and a real grit.
Brook's not going to give it up that easy, but he's on the back foot, taking some heavy blows. He's literally on the fringe of being stopped and managing somehow to stay in this fight. We know that Errol Spence is a big puncher, but he's landing.
Body shots, Spence now to the head. Brook so brave, trying desperately with his home crowd. A minute 15 left in this 10th round. It's been a nightmare for Kell Brook, but he tries to turn Errol Spence and hang on.
What a man Kell Brook is, what a fighter. He's not going to give up. This is unbelievable because he's been hit hard with some heavy shots. Spence is almost punching himself out. And amazingly, here comes Kell Brook still staring defiant in the face.
An uppercut from Brook and a right hand. Unbelievable scenes here. Extraordinary fight. How is Kell Brook still in this?
Well, he's not a quitter. He's a warrior. We saw that against Golovkin. He's strong, he's determined, he believes in himself, but even on the end of them heavy blows from Spence, he's still managing to find a way to stay in this round.
Anthony Joshua was a couple of punches away from losing at Wembley. Kell Brook surely maybe one punch away from losing there, but somehow he's dragged himself back. They're utilising, fueling off this home support, Carl.
I mean, there's a chance that Spencer here could punch himself out, and if that happens and Brook leans on him and manages to land something, who knows, but torrid round for Kell Brook. How he's still in there, still making this competitive is unbelievable. What a round of boxing from both men.
Amazing, incredible conditioning. How did Brook survive? Down, almost out, and it was Errol Spence Jr. who was looking tired at the end of it.
He was. I mean, Kell Brook, you got the knockdown, so you've got to score it 10-8 against Brook, but it was Spencer that was looking, waiting for that bell to ring, unbelievably. I mean, what I saw there from Brook, because he was badly hurt on the end of big shots here on his back foot, as we're seeing in the replays for this round, and Kell Brook here pushing him back and coming back into the round and finishing strong.
And keep on him and break his heart, Kelly, listen to that. So you got to do with him. He thought he was going to walk in here and do you in. Another drink, right? Compose yourself and get them shots accurate because they're draining him every time you ping him. Right? Believe in yourself. Listen to that. Right.
Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta. They're cheering in the corner. They're saying break his heart. Does he need a knockout, Kell Brook? In the 11th round, 6 to go. The Americans have Spence 3 up. You've now got Spence up for the first time in the fight. He might need to stop him if he's going to keep his title here, Kell Brook. But Errol Spence Jr. coming so close to halting the fight in the 10th.
I think that minute rest will do Spencer more good than it will do Kell Brook, unfortunately, because he's the younger man, the fresher man. And that could be the difference here. Kell Brook badly injured around the face and around that eye, but look at him, he means business. He just wants to get straight back in there and start landing them shots.
This is brilliant from Errol Spence Jr. Absolutely fantastic 4 or 5 rounds he's had. Real skillful, sharp shooter who's proving very much his worth on this stage. But a wonderful shot from Kell Brook. Almost unhinges Spence, who comes back again.
Awkward left-looking uppercut from Brook. Snaps the head back of Errol Spence. Got back behind his boxing now, Brook, but he doesn't want to be on the end of them punches.
Oh, he's blinking again badly. Kell Brook, the eye's giving him real trouble. The other one
obscuring his vision, making him feel uncomfortable. And here comes Spencer after that minute rest.
Yeah, the confidence back.
Good shot there from Spencer. Brook looking troubled here on the ropes.
Holding on again, Kell Brook.
Yeah, he's hurt. That eye's playing in trouble.
The eye against Golovkin, the eye against Errol Spence, but he's gone down on one knee. He can hardly see out of it. And he showed so much valiance, but can he get up and continue? I think he's going to sit it out. It is all over, and Errol Spence Jr. from the Lone Star State is a new star of world boxing. Congratulations, as the American becomes a world champion and makes it 22 wins on the spin. He was brilliant in the last few rounds. He showed so much guts as well at times. Super skills, but how much courage did Kell Brook show in that 10th round as well? Errol Spence Jr. wins a great fight. And your heart goes out to Kell Brook. Played with the eye again for the 2nd time in a row, but really you've got to take your hat off to the Texan for the way he went about that job and grew in confidence.
You do have to take your hats off to Errol Spence, because he was under fire for a few rounds. He was on his back foot. Brook was using his strength and looked like weight advantage, but then he got injured, Brook. I don't think that he quit there on his knee. I mean, he was waiting for the count and he wasn't sure where the referee was.
He's looking at Eddie Hearn and his dad, Terry. I don't think he can see properly out of that left eye.
He didn't quite know where he was there, Adam, at the end there.
I think he said afterwards in the Golovkin fight he was seeing 5 of him. He couldn't carry on, and Dominic Ingle put the towel in. But it was obvious that something was really amiss when he went down there, because he showed in the round before that he's no quitter.
Such a shame, because he came back after the knockdown. He came back in that round, and then he could have had his success, but that eye really did plague him. You could see him blinking, holding his eye. He took a knee because he couldn't see him coming. He was seeing now on the replay, blinking as he's backed up here.
It was an assault again from Errol Spence. I was really impressed with the way he kept himself together, the American. Really confident and compact, and even in times of trouble. It was a mature performance, that, beyond his years, from Errol Spence Jr. And he was up on the cards by 5, by 3, and by 1. Kell Brook had his moments, but the momentum had gone with the American.
It's had, and we'd spoke about it on the build-up. How will he be down the finishing line? The last 4, 3 and 2 rounds, as he went into the 11th there where it was stopped. We always was worried about Kell Brook finish. We didn't think the injury would plague him, and he did bite back after he was on the end of some big shots. I mean, what a magnanimous loss that was from Kell Brook. You've got to give him a massive amount of credit. He deserves it all, but Errol Spence really is a quality operator, and he'll go on from here, I think, and dominate this division.
Absolutely a real find in American boxing, Errol Spence Jr. We've watched his progression with interest. Now he graduates away from home on the biggest of stages. What fights lay out there for him, and what bravery and effort from Sheffield's Kell Brook to give us another fight to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Howard Foster has to call an end to the contest. He reached the count of 10. It's a knockout victory at 1 minute, 47 seconds, round number 11. The winner and new IBF welterweight champion of the world, still undefeated, Errol the Truth Spence Jr.
Unbeaten, and a big smile from the cool cat and his American clan, who've been a pleasure to have around, and we can't wait to see his progress. And he's with him.
Errol, congratulations, your graduation night. You've come to Kell's home country, to his hometown, and you're champion of the world. Break the fight down for us.
I came out the first round trying to force my jab. I was overshooting it, and he was countering me with it. And you know, I think the layoff kind of had me kind of shaky in there. You know, not one layoff, but you know, he's a tricky fighter. He's awkward. He's very strong, and he can punch. But you know, I proved it today that I have a chin and I have true grit.
Did you live up to your hype and reputation today, and were there any doubts at all coming in?
Oh, there was no doubts at all. You know, I kind of give myself a B-. I don't think I, you know, did too good. I think I was a little bit off on my offense and my defense. But, you know, I get killed all the credit. You know, I get these fans here, they're beautiful fans, they're hardcore fans. You know, they came out here to support their hometown champion.
Is it that little bit more special that you've had to come here to do it, to the UK to do it, to leave the States?
Definitely. This is a legacy-defining fight. That's what two champions do. You know, you go anywhere to fight. You know, he came to America and took the title, so I came over here to take the title from him. But he's a true champion. I wanted to fight the champion, and Kell Brook gave me the opportunity, and I thank him for that.
You and your team would have had a game plan and tactics. Did the fight pan out how you thought it would?
Oh, it didn't pan out exactly how I thought it would. I thought I'd be a little bit sharper. But, you know, I didn't feel that sharp tonight. But, you know, that's what true champions do. They push it out, and, you know, they show true grit like I did.
What about round 10? You had him down and you had him hurt, but he pushed you all the way. Was that one of the best rounds of your career?
Oh, definitely, that was one of the best rounds. He showed he was a true champion, just like he did with Golovkin. He was hurt, you know, he was tired, he was fatigued, you know, he pushed it out. He came back firing shots, I came back firing shots, and that was an awesome 10th round.
Do you believe this is the start of a long reign at the top of the welterweight division?
Definitely. The goal is to unify the titles. You know, I want to fight Keith Thurman next. You know, Manny Pacquiao next. I want to fight the champions, unify the division, become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
Well done tonight. Enjoy all of the celebrations. You're champion of the world.
Thank you.
Let's have a word with Kell Brook.
Hey.
Kell. Commiserations. What went wrong tonight?
Tonight were a very tough fight. You know, I'd say Spence is one of the best kids I've beaten with, if not the best. I got caught in about the 7th round in the eye, and it felt like same as the Golovkin one. Probably not as bad at that time, but it was getting it on it over the rounds, and it was getting worse. And in the last round, it caught me in it, and it just stuck there, double vision, and I couldn't see out of the eye now. I couldn't see, so I had to stop.
How did you feel the fight was going up until that point?
I thought it was a very competitive fight. You know, maybe he won a few rounds, I won a few rounds. It was very competitive. I felt I were in the fight, but, you know, I love to fight on another day. I'm gutted in front of my own fans here in Steel City, Sheffield, that I've lost my belt. I'm devastated.
What about what you two have managed to achieve tonight by putting 30,000 in this stadium, and it would have been easy for you to vacate this title and move up in weight?
I'm just saying, when I was walking out there, the tunnel, and I was looking up, and I was seeing everybody. I've never even seen that before, even when football's playing all over on the pitch and all over the stands. It was amazing to see. I'm so proud of myself that I've brought this to Sheffield, and Sheffield Wednesday United together, and tonight we're about Sheffield.
What happened at the end of the fight with the count? Did you miss the count, or was the eye just too bad to go on?
You know, I got caught, and I got hurt when I got put down and got a count. You know, but I got back up and fought on. I'm a warrior. I would have got through the fight, but when you can't see, there's nothing you can do.
Will you chase a rematch, or does the future for you live up in weight?
I'll have to talk to Eddie. You know, I'll fight anyone, absolutely anyone, wherever, you know, the money is, wherever what the fans want me to want me to have, that's what I'll do.
Could you make welterweight again?
Yeah, I could.
You got a final message for everyone that came out? I know you're disappointed.
I'm sorry for everyone who come out, you know, but I'm happy that we've made a great night for Sheffield tonight. You know, we've brought a lot of revenue into Sheffield, you know, and I'm happy that I've generated that and I've done that. It's been fantastic, the build-up, the hot weather, the weigh-in, the press conference, the fight. I just hope that everyone's had a good night.
Well said.